It's probably written here. I've got my spectacles tonight, but there was, I was just one of a number of judges, and three of us were able to participate in one key session. One of the fourth of us could not for various technical reasons, and the other two on that occasion were Mark Danner, who can't be here tonight. And Mark Danner, I think, will be remembered for his coverage of the War on Terror, probably amongst. He may be the best remembered of all. I think what he has written, particularly on the issue of human rights in Guantanamo, will stand the test of time and of history. He, unfortunately, he describes himself as bi-coastal, by which he means that he works in New York and in Berkeley, and he has a romantic interest somewhere on the fruited plain between the two. So he seems to be constantly in motion, and unfortunately he could not be here tonight. But there is somebody else here tonight, and that's Isabel Hilton, who has her own distinguished career. He also spends a lot of time on aeroplanes, and has marked out a special place for herself in matters of human rights, and is currently running the China Dialogue, which I imagine must also involve her in matters of human rights and the abuse thereof. So I'd like to ask Isabel if she could come up and make the award to our next honoree, Manon. And I'll just stand by for a little while.
Thank you very much, John. It's the second time that I've had the privilege of being on the jury of the Schork Awards, and I have to say it's such a privilege to be associated with his memory and his body of work, and the man whom John has so movingly described. It's also a tremendous pleasure because, of course, we've all lost talented and wonderful colleagues in this profession. And it's extremely moving to see talented young people coming in with all the troubles that afflict journalism these days. They still come and they still bring that courage and that dedication that we tend to lament has passed. It hasn't passed at all. Fresh waves of it break on the shore all the time. I wanted to say that those of you, of course, who attend regularly will know that it's we're in a slightly unusual situation here. There are normally two prizes, one the local and one the freelance. And the fact that we have two winners of the freelance category. I wanted, of course, the secrets of the jury discussion I will take to my grave, but just in case anyone had the impression that this was the result of one of those deadlocked situations with rival candidates and dispute, I wanted to assure you that it was absolutely the opposite. There was a tremendously talented field, but in that talented field there were two candidates whom we all felt it would simply be invidious to choose between them, that each of them deserved to win. So we asked permission of Sabina and I guess the trustees to make this break with tradition. It was kindly given, and we were absolutely delighted. And I have the pleasure of presenting the prize to Manon Querouil, whose work, I have to say, as I said, these are two immensely talented young journalists. And Manon has worked from Afghanistan to Yemen and from Saudi Arabia to Colombia. And she writes with great sensitivity, with great narrative skill. She goes to extremely dangerous places. And she has that gift of bringing alive the individuals who tend to be allowed to lapse into the rather grey mass of people who we know are there, but whose lives very rarely take on the colour and the humanity and the depth, because so few people take the time and have the sensitivity and the talent to go and find them and write about them. So from the unusual story of teenage girl gang members in Colombia to the Swat Valley again, and the struggle both of educated adult women and of their young pupils to keep schools open and to keep any prospects at all open for women as the Taliban came in, to the lives of the pirates of Somalia and the story of why they came to be doing what they were doing. And in many other situations, in many other countries, Manon Querouil's work is outstanding, and it's a great pleasure for me to invite her to come up and accept her award. And where is she?
Well, thank you. First of all, I'm honored to share this prize with Nir Hossein. I'm a great admirer of his work. As you can hear, I'm French and I'm sick, so there are two good excuses to make my speech very short. Just like to thank the Schork jury for this award. It means a lot to me. I started working as a freelance journalist 3 years ago. I'd love to say it was a road paved with joy and success, but truth is I also experienced a little frustration and deception as well. And by the way, I still do. But doing this job is a great privilege. We all know it's getting more and more difficult to make a living out of it. So this award is a terrific encouragement, will kick in my motivation to keep uncovering for sexist stories. And since I'm here struggling with my English, I'd like to use this opportunity to have a word for my fixers. I had the chance to work with all those local contacts. Without them, nothing would have been possible. And as I am enjoying my cozy life back in Paris, I have a special thought for them left behind in the most dangerous places on earth. So again, thank you for your trust. I'll do my best to honor it. Have a nice day.
I'd just like to add, as a member of the jury, how tremendously impressed I was to be able to travel as widely to as many different stories as Manon did, and to put herself into harm's way. I've no doubt without, as I said earlier, the flak jackets and the easy draw on dollar advances that we have leaves me in awe. I have spent a life as a foreign correspondent, but it's been a life where I never had to worry about the paycheck at the end of the month. And I've often thought how much more difficult it would be to summon up the courage to do what has to be done if you have to live off your wits in the way that a freelance does. I mean, I'm deeply, deeply impressed by what you did.